Let's take a look at this kind of soft orange, coral almost color to this Unimatic. On loan from Exquisite Timepieces in Naples, Florida is where their brick and mortar is. Of course, you can purchase these watches on their website. I'll put a link to, well, at the time of me making this video, this watch actually isn't even on their website yet. So I'll put a link to the Unimatic page. There's a bunch of different Unimatics on there. It's definitely a brand to look at. I've always been a fan of them. I've owned a couple of them. Actually, Exquisite's done a special, like, limited edition package. It was actually a really cool package. A while ago, I did a video on it. So that also kind of shows how good both Unimatic is and how good Exquisite is, because they move so many pieces. They're able to, like, collab with some of these brands. It's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to some future collabs. Maybe not this year, 2025, but definitely 2026. I would like to see them maybe work with Fears. I've shown Fears on here. They're an authorized dealer for over 60 brands at this time, as well as a massive pre-owned collection. So pretty much if there's a watch or a brand that you want, they can get it for you or have it, honestly. You can reach out to Tyler. That's my contact. I'll put his contact information down below in the description. Let's get into the watch portion of this. So I have a couple measurements right out of the gate for you. So the case I measure at about 40.5. And like a lot of dive watches, the bezel overhang a little bit. So this bezel width is 41.5 millimeter. So if you wanted to average it out, it basically wears kind of like a 41 millimeter watch, somewhere in there. The lug to lug is a 48.4. It's a non-drilled lug, so a sleek brushed side. This thing is pretty much very like purpose, utilitarian, tough tool watch look to it. It's all brushed, ceramic bezel insert, sapphire crystals, 2.5 millimeter thick, and these are rated and I think tested to 300 meter water depth rating. If you need to go deeper, there's a titanium version I think they make that is 600 meter water depth rating. So if you want to go extreme, I doubt any of you guys are, you know, really challenging the 300 meter water depth rating on this, but you know, there's a 600 out there as well. The thickness on this thing is 14.6 millimeter from the case back to the top. You can see it's a slightly proud chamfered flat sapphire crystal just above that bezel, which I say that because there's the bezel metal, the ceramic matte, ceramic bezel insert, and then another ring of metal reveal right before you get to the crystal. I love that look. I don't know why, I like that separation. And then you have a 22 millimeter lug opening, and you have this great, easy to use 8 millimeter oversized crown with these great, angle of deflect crown guards there. So again, this is built to take a bit of a beating. Like it is capable. 120 click bezel. Great action on this. And it's one of the few bezel actions, and for the dive watch fanatics out there, you'll get this. If you spin it fast, it actually still sounds and feels good. There's a lot of watches out there, like when you try to spin the bezel faster, it kind of falls apart. I don't want to say it literally falls apart, but I'm saying like the tactile feel and the audible on it isn't as nice as if you were to go slow with the bezel click. This one doesn't matter if you go slow or quick with it. It feels great still and sounds good. The movement inside, keeping both it super reliable and keeping the price point down, is derived from Seiko. It's the NH35. So it is a great movement, and it gets the job done and keeps the cost down. This thing's sub $1,000 range. Of course, reach out to Tyler, tell him I sent you, and see what kind of movement there may be on there. I don't expect a lot because these are already kind of super affordable watches in their lineup. They are made in Italy, as it clearly says on the dial. It is the Unimatic 300 meter water resist. Like I said, I'm going to show you the case back as well, because there's a lot of information on the case back. A little fuzz there. Comes with this fabric strap. I have not handled one of these on bracelet, or have I? I can't remember. There's a look at the case back. Tons of information there. Of course, the part number, some other information. Movement beats at 21,600 vibrations per hour. made in Italy, 300-meter water resist, all of that good stuff. And most of their watches are kind of batched. I wouldn't say they're all limited edition, but they do batches of them. So that gives them the ability, like, if they need to make another batch, they can. But a lot of times they'll make that batch and then they kind of move on. They do a lot of collabs, a lot of limited editions. It makes it a fun brand to collect. So let's pop this on my 7 1/4 inch wrist so you can see what that looks like as I struggle with this pretty stiff fabric strap. I would probably swap it out. You don't have to, but I would probably swap it out to like a 2-piece FKM rubber or something. But there it is on my 7 1/4 inch wrist. It's a bit of a Goldilocks size, at least for my wrist and my preference, is basically that 41 by 48 lug to lug. Pretty much any watch you put in front of me with that size, I'm going to like it on my wrist. So, and this one definitely does that. And I like the colorway. You know, it's a different kind of orange. I don't know if you guys, if you're more versed in colors, if you want to chime in and tell me exactly what color you think this is. But it's in the orange spectrum for sure. It's just not a vivid bright orange like you would see in a lot of dive watches. So it's a muted, softer version, almost like a faded orange, if that's possible. Let's check out the lume on this thing. Unimatic has been doing pretty good with their lume on the more recent releases from them. And in this case, we have dual color. Very clever to go with the orange on the... It's always funny to me how, like, the orange lume phase with watches, I'm like, I don't get it. Because it doesn't look like that. And then you go to night mode and it's like, yeah, it's orange. And it seems like it's hanging around a little bit. You're watching this as I'm recording. Typically, a really strongly colored lume will drop off very quick. It'll start to fade. This one's not fading that quick. The green is going to hold up a little bit better, that green-blue color, than the orange, I'm sure. But that orange is holding up pretty darn good. Impressive. Thanks for watching, guys. And again, big thanks to Exquisite Timepieces. Check it out. Link in the description. I'll see you on the next video.